It was just another day in the vast, unpredictable theater of nature, where the ordinary can turn extraordinary in the blink of an eye. From a flash flood in Saudi Arabia that filled a bone-dry valley in minutes to a massive sinkhole in Indonesia swallowing an excavator whole, the planet never fails to remind us of its raw, untamed power. Picture this: a grandmother in China sitting peacefully outside her home when the mountain behind her suddenly roars to life. The security cameras were rolling as she barely escaped the crushing force of a 3-ton boulder that reduced her house to rubble. Or imagine standing on a beach in North Carolina, watching in awe as 1,000 clams erupt from the sand in a synchronized feeding frenzy. These are the moments that defy odds, the one-in-a-billion spectacles that leave us breathless. In the quiet corners of Yiliang County, China, an elderly woman was enjoying the calm of an August afternoon when the earth itself seemed to revolt. A distant rumble grew louder, a sound she initially dismissed, until the mountain answered with a thunderous crack. The boulder that followed was monstrous, a force of nature that careened toward her home with terrifying speed. The footage is chilling, her desperate scramble for safety, the deafening crash as the boulder obliterated everything in its path. The aftermath was surreal, a rock so massive it dwarfed the remnants of the house, a stark reminder of how fragile human existence truly is. Yet, against all odds, she survived. Proof that sometimes luck is the only thing standing between life and catastrophe. Meanwhile, in central Mamuju, Indonesia, the ground itself betrayed the people. A construction crew, working tirelessly to pave new roads for a growing population, suddenly found the earth opening beneath them. The excavator, a symbol of human ingenuity, was no match for the liquefaction that swallowed it whole. The driver's leap to safety was nothing short of miraculous, a split-second decision that meant the difference between life and being buried alive. The machine's arm, twisted and broken, jutted from the sinkhole like a grim monument to nature's indifference. This wasn't just a collapse, it was the earth reclaiming what was never truly ours. Then there's the chilling lesson from the forests of Georgia, where 2 hunters learned the hard way that climbing a tree is no escape from a bear. The footage is heart-stopping, the massive predator scaling the trunk with terrifying ease, its claws digging into the bark as if gravity meant nothing. The hunter's frantic shouts, the bear's relentless climb. It's a primal reminder that in the wild, humans are not the apex predators we like to believe we are. The video cuts before the final confrontation, leaving us to wonder, did they make it out unscathed, or did nature claim another victory? In New Hampshire's wild Ammonoosuc River, spring's arrival brought a spectacle of destruction. A geology student stood transfixed as an ice dam shattered, unleashing a frozen tsunami that snapped trees like twigs. The sound alone was apocalyptic, a deafening roar as the river surged forward, carrying entire trunks like toothpicks. The sheer force of the ice was mesmerizing, a reminder that even the most serene landscapes can transform into engines of chaos in an instant. And then there's Dagestan, Russia, where an avalanche swallowed a mountain village in under 3 minutes. The slow-motion horror of snow and ice consuming everything in its path, cars, roads, the very ground beneath their feet, was a stark lesson in nature's ability to erase human presence without a second thought. The village of Tsurib was left isolated, buried under tons of snow, yet miraculously no lives were lost. A testament to resilience, or sheer dumb luck. From the Blue Ridge Mountains, where a landslide nearly crushed a couple's car, to the bizarre quicksand snow phenomenon in China, these moments are more than just viral clips. They're humbling reminders of our place in the world. Even the mayfly swarm in China, so thick it turned a bridge into a slippery death trap, speaks to the unstoppable cycles of nature. And then there are the moments that make us question reality, like the office worker in the Philippines who swore he saw UFOs hovering in a storm, only to realize it was just a trick of the light. A hilarious, almost poetic reminder that sometimes the most unbelievable things are just illusions. These are the stories that captivate, terrify, and inspire. They're proof that nature doesn't follow rules. It rewrites them. And in a world where the next 1-in-a-billion moment could happen at any time, all we can do is watch, wonder, and hope we're not in its path when it does. The skies over Brazil turned into a scene from a sci-fi nightmare when a freak weather phenomenon known as spider lightning lit up the night in 2023. Unlike typical lightning that streaks downward, these eerie tendrils of electricity spread horizontally across the clouds like a living web, pulsing with an otherworldly glow. Witnesses described the sight as both beautiful and terrifying, nature's own light show, playing by rules we don't yet understand. Scientists later confirmed it was a rare form of upper atmospheric discharge, a reminder that even something as familiar as a storm can still surprise us. In the dead of winter, a lake in Minnesota performed a magic trick that defied logic. Lake Superior's ice volcanoes erupted along its frozen shoreline, spewing slush and water into the air like miniature Arctic geysers. These bizarre formations occur when waves push water beneath the ice, forcing it upward through cracks until it bursts out in frozen plumes. The sight was surreal, nature's own version of a frosty fireworks display, proving that even in the harshest conditions, the planet finds ways to astonish. Then there was the day the ocean in South Africa turned blood red. Beachgoers watched in horror as a crimson tide rolled in, staining the waves and leaving a trail of dead fish in its wake. This wasn't a biblical plague, but a massive algal bloom, trillions of microscopic organisms reproducing so rapidly they choked the water of oxygen. The stench was unbearable, the scale unimaginable. Yet within days, the tide receded, leaving no trace behind. A fleeting, terrifying reminder of how quickly nature can rewrite the rules. Deep in the Amazon, a tree did the impossible. It walked. The Socratea exoriza, or walking palm, appears to shift its position over time, sprouting new roots towards sunlight while the old ones wither. Time-lapse footage revealed the slow but deliberate movement, a botanical marvel that blurred the line between plant and creature. Scientists debate whether it's true locomotion or just clever growth, but one thing's certain: the forest holds secrets we've only begun to uncover. On a quiet beach in Australia, the sand itself began to sing. Visitors to Port Gregory gasped as their footsteps produced eerie musical tones, a phenomenon known as singing sand. The perfect combination of grain size, humidity, and wind created a natural symphony, each step ringing like a ghostly chime. Locals say it's the dunes whispering secrets. Scientists say it's friction at work. Either way, for a brief moment, the earth itself seemed alive with song. Then came the day the sky rained jellyfish in Japan. A sudden downpour in the city of Tottori left streets littered with gelatinous blobs, tiny translucent creatures that normally drift in the ocean. A waterspout had sucked them up miles offshore, carrying them inland before releasing them like some bizarre meteorological prank. Residents stared in disbelief, poking the strange invaders with sticks, wondering if reality had glitched. In Norway, a mountain peak suddenly split in half with a sound like a gunshot. Hikers watched as the solid rock face sheared apart, sending boulders tumbling into the valley below. Geologists called it a frostquake, water seeping into cracks, freezing and expanding with enough force to fracture stone. A reminder that even the mightiest landscapes are never truly still. And who could forget the fire rainbow that set social media ablaze? A cloud in Thailand ignited with prismatic flames, an optical illusion caused by sunlight hitting ice crystals at just the right angle. For a few fleeting minutes, the sky burned with color, a fleeting masterpiece painted by physics. The desert sands of Namibia came alive in 2024 when a rare fairy circle phenomenon began forming perfect geometric patterns overnight. These mysterious barren patches, some spanning over 30 feet wide, appeared like polka dots across the arid landscape. Scientists remain baffled. Are they caused by underground termites, competing grasses, or some unknown natural algorithm? The local Himba people whisper that they're footprints of the gods. Whatever the truth, standing among these perfect natural circles feels like stepping onto another planet. In the remote Siberian tundra, a 200-foot crater suddenly yawned open with an explosion heard miles away. When researchers reached the site, they found walls of permafrost still smoking from the force of the blast. These mysterious gateways to hell, as locals call them, are now appearing with alarming frequency, likely caused by methane explosions from thawing Arctic soil. The sheer violence of these eruptions serves as a terrifying preview of our planet's changing climate, where even the frozen ground beneath our feet can become volatile. Off the coast of Chile, an entire island temporarily vanished in 2023. The small, uninhabited Isla Bartolomé disappeared beneath the waves after a massive undersea landslide, only to reappear months later when shifting sediments pushed it back up. Satellite images confirmed this bizarre disappearing act, a stark reminder that Earth's crust is in constant restless motion. Marine biologists were stunned to find the returning island already teeming with new life, as if the ocean had simply been borrowing it for a while. A beach in Wales became the scene of an alien-like invasion when millions of blue, by-the-wind sailor jellyfish washed ashore in perfect formation. Their translucent sails, resembling tiny plastic triangles, blanketed the sand for miles. These mysterious ocean drifters normally live far out at sea, but changing wind patterns had delivered them en masse to startled tourists. As the sun set, the beached creatures began bioluminescing, turning the shore into a glowing blue carpet, beautiful, eerie, and slightly tragic all at once. Deep in a Venezuelan cave system, researchers discovered a waterfall that flows upward. In the bizarre physics of the Cueva del Fantasma, powerful winds rushing through underground tunnels create enough pressure to reverse the waterfall's flow during certain seasons. Watching liquid defy gravity in this hidden cavern feels like witnessing nature break its own rules, a place where the normal laws of physics seem suspended. The 2024 super bloom in California's Death Valley was so intense it could be seen from space. After historic rains, the world's hottest desert transformed overnight into a pastel wonderland of wildflowers. But the real shock came when motion-activated cameras captured the valley's rocks, appearing to move on their own. The culprit? A once-in-a-generation explosion of Mormon cricket, swarms so dense their collective movement could literally push stones across the desert floor. Nature's version of a living bulldozer. In the Philippines' Chocolate Hills, one of the iconic dome-shaped mounds suddenly began emitting perfect smoke rings in early 2024. The rare geological phenomenon, caused by pressurized air escaping through hidden vents, created the illusion of the Earth itself, blowing smoke signals. Local legends quickly spread that the ancient hills were finally waking up, while geologists scrambled to explain this never-before-documented behavior. Perhaps most unsettling was the day Antarctica's blood falls ran black. The famous iron-rich waterfall, which normally flows crimson, suddenly darkened to an inky void as underground microbial communities shifted their metabolism. Scientists realized they were witnessing real-time extremophile evolution, a glimpse at how life might adapt on other planets. The event lasted only 72 hours before returning to red, leaving behind more questions than answers. The frozen lakes of Canada's Northwest Territories erupted in an eerie chorus of metallic shrieks and otherworldly booms during the winter of 2024. As temperatures plunged to -58 degrees Fahrenheit, -50 degrees Celsius, the ice began contracting with such force that it created seismic ice quakes, strong enough to register on earthquake monitors. Local Inuit elders spoke of ancient legends warning, when the ice sings this way, great change is coming. The unearthly sounds carried for miles across the tundra, nature's own haunted soundtrack playing across a frozen stage. In the cloud forests of Ecuador, a newly discovered species of glass frog stunned biologists with its impossible transparency. Unlike its cousins with translucent undersides, this variety revealed a fully visible beating heart, working digestive system, and even circulating blood cells, all clearly visible through skin as clear as polished crystal. The creature's evolutionary advantage became tragically clear when researchers observed birds hesitating before attacking, seemingly confused by the frog's near invisibility when motionless against leaves. The Australian outback delivered one of nature's most surreal performances when a million-strong flock of budgerigars transformed the sky into a living kaleidoscope. The murmuration moved with such perfect synchronization that the birds appeared to form gigantic shifting shapes. At one moment, a rolling wave, then a spinning vortex, then what looked eerily like a massive avian face staring down at the desert below. Climate scientists noted this was the largest single flock ever recorded, likely driven together by expanding droughts. Off the coast of South Africa, veteran shark researchers witnessed something never before captured on the film. A great white shark performing a full breach, straight into a school of feeding dolphins. In an unprecedented moment of interspecies coordination, the dolphins immediately formed a protective sphere around their stunned predator, keeping it disoriented with rapid circling movements until it retreated. Marine biologists are still debating whether this was deliberate defense strategy or simply opportunistic behavior, but the footage rewrote our understanding of oceanic hierarchies. The Atacama Desert, Earth's driest place, experienced its own miracle when a rare hyper-bloom, triggered by 2024's intense El Niño rains, caused buried seeds to explode into life. But the real wonder came weeks later, when time-lapse cameras revealed the flowers were tracking the sun's movement with near mathematical precision, their stems audibly creaking as they tilted in perfect unison, like a floral sundial. Botanists confirmed this was an undocumented survival mechanism to maximize water retention in the brutal desert conditions. In Russia's remote Kamchatka Peninsula, a valley of geysers began erupting in perfect alternating sequence during the summer solstice, creating what appeared to be a natural geothermal clock. The timing was so precise that local researchers were able to predict eruptions down to the minute for 3 days straight. Volcanologists suspect unique tidal forces and underground water channels created this temporary but breathtaking synchronization, a reminder that even Earth's most violent forces can sometimes move in harmony. The Amazon River shocked scientists in 2024 when a 20-mile stretch near Manaus suddenly turned a vivid electric blue. The transformation lasted just 36 hours before fading, caused by an unprecedented bloom of cyanobacteria that typically only exists in tiny quantities. Indigenous guides spoke of ancient stories predicting when the river wears sky clothes, warning it precedes great floods. Sure enough, record-breaking rains arrived 2 weeks later, submerging entire villages. Perhaps most astonishing was the night when bioluminescent mushrooms in Vietnam's forests began pulsing in unison across miles of jungle. Researchers confirmed the fungi were responding to some unknown environmental trigger by synchronizing their glow patterns, creating waves of light that rippled through the darkness like a living network. The event lasted exactly 4 hours and 17 minutes before the mushrooms returned to their random glowing, a fleeting glimpse into nature's hidden connections that science still can't explain. These moments stand as testament to our planet's endless capacity for wonder. They occur without warning, rewrite scientific textbooks in real time, and vanish before we fully understand them. Yet each one leaves an indelible mark, proof that in an age where humans believe we've tamed nature, the Earth still holds miracles beyond our imagination, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal themselves. So, the next time you step outside, remember, the Earth is alive, unpredictable, and utterly indifferent to our plans. And somewhere, right now, another unbelievable moment is unfolding, waiting to shock the world.